Alright, so I ran into something when I was looking up octopus while trying to make videos. And if I could find it somehow, that would be lovely. Cause shit keeps deep. Oh, that's what we looked up. Alright, so octopus. Alright, so boom. In Christian art, the octopus symbolizes mystery, flexibility, intelligence, adaptability, and unpredictability. It's also a lunar creature. It is a lunar creature. Me, I know I come from the stars, the sun, like one of them. Um, you feel me? Feel like star is pretty much another word for sun, and the sun that we have is not even the brightest sun. So Sirius is. But back to what I was saying. It is a lunar creature affected by the tides and the waxing and the wandings of the moon. So let's look up octopus again. I mean lunar creatures. So I feel like that's what I did. Boom. First thing that pop up was tardigrades, right? Often called water bears, are creatures under a millimetric long that can survive being heated 150 degrees Celsius and frozen to almost absolutely zero. They were traveling on an Israeli spacecraft that crash landed on the moon. Knowing Israel was Jacob, Jacob is Yaqub. This was on a Yaqub, and Yaqub is Satan. This was on a satanic spacecraft that crash landed on the moon. These satanic ass people is the only people that's trying to do something with the moon. They're trying to take over. They're taking stuff from the moon. They claiming that they flew to the moon, but all of that was Hollywood. For Hollywood has the whole scene of everything that's in it. Hollywood has everything that's in it. It matches up everything, probably even to a piece of hair. The same way as NASA, Hollywood. So they planted that. But if you already know what's going on or know about your planet, you also know there's portals around. And they starting to release shit like that, but you gotta remember, they're not flying to this shit because they can't even escape it. They can't escape past the firmament. For real. They're using portals. People in the astronauts, they're using portals. So even if an astronaut really going to space, they're using portals. Period. They even made portals. I'm pretty sure they made that technology. Pretty sure. Like, they took our secrets. They definitely have it. So, alright, so boom. This is what you can do within self. You don't need technology to go to the fucking moon. So, me saying that, alright, they were traveling on an Israeli spacecraft. Israel, Jacob, Yaqub said. So, boom. Look at the size it says. 6 creatures under a millimetric long. Alright, so since I'm just learning about that in the last 30 minutes while trying to make this video, we're gonna look up Xenobots. So boom, you know who Zeus is. Zeus also Satan. So boom. Alright, let's look up Zeno meaning, right? Zeno, popularity, meaning gift of Zeus, right? So we're gonna look up bot. Bot is an autonomous program on the internet or another network that can interact with system users, right? Second definition, chiefly in science fiction, a robot, right? So boom, let's look up Omicron, because this is the cycle we in. Well, this is a cycle we kind of stepped in last year. It's also a constellation that's a part of this winter triangle. The winter triangle is Sirius, Betelgeuse, and I believe a star from the Gemini constellation. All three of those form the winter triangle, but I think the Micron might be inside of it, if I'm not mistaken. Or, well, I know it's a star. It's like, it's a constellation that looks like something that's on a Micron cartoon from like Boomerang. So I might be saying that wrong, but I know it has something to do for sure with them saying it at the time period they were saying. Because again, time periods are energy cycles. It's just the measurement of those energy cycles. Feel me? Day by day. So boom. Try not to get off topic. Cause somebody probably thinking some bullshit. Trying to fuck with my energy. But gonna peep it and move on. So Micron, right? Omi. They said Omi and Phoenician text means weapon. Omi, Phoenician. Phoenician text means Ayan. I'm not even about to do all that. Ayan and Zayn. Because I feel like Zayn came from Ayan. Both words is in the Bible too. Alright, so Ayan, the 16th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, right? Let's look what Ayan means. Ayan, meaning nothingness, related to Enoch, related to not, is important concept in Kabbalah and Hasidic philosophy. It is contrasted with the term yesh, which means something exists, being, and is. And in English mean I, literally I. See what it means in the Bible. I feel like Ayin is in the Bible, and it is. And it means nothingness. It was also in Psalms, just like Zayn is also in Psalms. So look, Ayin, I am your servant, Lord, give me discernment. Ayin is another word for I. So I am your servant, Lord, give me discernment. We are going to begin our Bible. Alright, we'll move on. Ayin means I in Hebrew. So, in the Bible, alright, Ayin is closely associated with the Ein Sof Hebrew meaning no end, without an end, which is understood as the deity prior to his self-manifestation and creation of spiritual and physical realms, single infinite unity beyond any prescription or limitation. The word Ayin means eye or to see, and by extension, the deeper connect concepts of its meaning, it means to understand and to obey. It is also a silent letter for it sees and doesn't speak. To which some scholars says this letter reveals an altitude of humility, and all of that sounds like it's your third eye, right? This is the meaning of Omi, prefix of Omicron, right? It's also represent a constellation in the 16th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So boom. So saying means I dialect spelling of saying. I'm trying to I looked this up last year, so I'm trying to show you how I found it, but it's most likely ain't gonna show like that. Reason why I was supposed to do it while I was looking it up. But okay, which explains, right? In the Bible, Zayin means weapon. Hence, sages and Kabbalists see Zayin as signifying power. Its seventh and its shape is like a weapon. The letter petition God. It's like a weapon, right? So boom. so boom, getting off track. So Ayan came from Zayn, right? Ayan is pretty much the suffix Z, which is also at that time was a letter, right? It was also a word like Z, Zetia, Celta. Um, that's the weapon. So if they're using it, them names, if Satan's using it, them names, it's the weapon. Alright, so boom. That's why no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You can't be letting them fuck with you. Period. Alright, so if I can go back enough to where I hopped on before that. Oh yeah, Quran also means bot. Alright. So alright, lunar creatures. The remember I said something about lunar creatures. So we're gonna come back to that little fella. Alright. So back to the octopus and the ink and the neuromelanin and the melanin. Or let's say the octopus, the ink, and the carbon. Let's say that. Alright. So boom. It is a lunar creature affected by the tides and the waxing and the waning of the moon. It dwells on the ever changing bottom of the ocean and does not have a skeleton. Octopuses are ocean creatures that are most famous for having 8 arms and bulbous heads. Some others fun facts, they have 3 hearts, blue blood, and they squirt ink to deter predators. And being boneless, they have intelligence and have been observed using tools. The oldest fossils belongs to the animal that lived during the Carboniferous period. That specimen belongs. The octopus have a mind of their own. 2/3 of the octopus neurons reside in the arms, not as heads, meaning while the brain is focused on one thing, the arms can multitask. The octopus doesn't just hide the animal, it also damages the enemy. Talking about is ink. It contains compound of tyrosinase, synase, tyrosinase, which in humans, alright, my bad. But the octopus doesn't just hide itself with its ink. It also damages the enemy. It contains a compound tyrosinase, which in humans help control the production of the natural pigment melanin. But when sprayed, the tyro cause a blinding irritation. To survive the deep ocean, octopus evolved a copper rather than iron-based blood called hemocyanin, which turns the blood blue, making them blue blood. This copper base is more efficient at transporting transporting oxygen than hemoglobin. When water temperature is low and not much oxygen is around, but this system also causes them to extremely be sensitive to changes in acidity. So that's just like a little thing on octopuses. Reading about octopuses should get deep. It just ties into a lot of other things, just so you can understand where a lot of this weird stuff comes from. So it was taught in history, which was just another time of energy, or another period of energy. Because look, say the only way for you to fly was for us to enter an energy cycle. That energy cycle is going to connect with body and cells to even allow you to do so. And if you were to fly, it would be because the life force is out of you, just like that. And that will come from carbon, helium, and hydrogen, in my eyes. So, and maybe iron, uh, or gold. Alright, so let's talk about ink real quick. Alright, so ink, the usual word for ink in Latin was atramentum, source of Old French arrament, literally. Anything that serves to dye black from aether black. The Greek was melon. The neuter of melas means black. The Old English word for it is Blake, Blaec, literally black, and compares Swedish black, Danish flake, ink. Spanish and Portuguese tinta and tinte get their ink words from Latin tintus, which also sounds like tentacle. Um, Tinctus means a dying. A dying came from the tentacles, which was or ink. So that ink might be melanin that it exposes out. Uh, might be the black ink, which also comes from carbon, which is antimatter. But this is the version under the seas these octopus use. And if you look up what too much melanin does when you surround it, I mean, too much of its ink, right, will damage it. Just like how too much of it, melanin, around you would damage you. Like, if it was like, and taking, like, alright, so boom. The psychologist Inkbot test attested from 1915 caustic adjective is capable of burning or destroying organic tissues, corrosive. The black the black liquor with which men write from dark brown fluid. Yeah, so they used to use ink and all this other stuff from it. So therefore they was already experimenting with these octopus and things from the Carboniferous period. just like a tardigrade, right? And how these other things are inside of these the shit they research. The stuff they be taking, these cells and all this shit from other species, and the the knowledge they got from the secrets they took, like they're using these same stuff from these time periods. Reason why it's making sense to me in this time period, because my DNA goes from the beginning of this period. So, like, shit started to make sense. So, like, I don't, my notes is kind of messed up. So, we're going to look at a word called caustic, because it has something to deal with the ink that comes from it. And my eyes, this ink got me thinking it's another form of melanin or neuromelanin that these octopus use, which gives them intelligence. Reason why they are intelligent. So, um, caustic. Alright, so caustic means able to burn or corrode organic tissues by chemical actions. Sarcastic in scathing and bitter way. What does it mean to be caustic? Capable of destroying or eating away by chemical action. Corrosive. The chemical was so caustic that it ate through the pipe. Marked by incisive sarcasm. A caustic film reviewed caustic humor, relating to or being the surface or curve of a caustic. The definition of a caustic is a substance that burns or eat away by chemical reactions or hurtful remarks or relationships. An example of a caustic is effective mustard gas has on skin. An example, alright, so boom. Let's look up this video that I was trying to make.
People's vehicles in the area. Fossils are rare. Belongs to a more in that they developed was rounded, but had a
Never got. I'm guessing the Permian.
Straprolis was a conical gastropod mollusk with whorls that are rounded in cross-section, but have a slight shoulder. The shell surface lacks ornamentation. Limestone mollusk fossils are rare because the calcium gastropod mollusk with whereas some of the latest ones from the Permian have sutures that are very complex.
I'm guessing the Permian.
Straprolis was a conical gastropod mollusk with whorls that are rounded in cross-section, but have a slight shoulder. The shell surface lacks ornamentation. Limestone mollusk fossils are rare because the calcium carbonate shells of most are made of the mineral aragonite, which later dissolved. Straprolis, however, had an outer layer of calcite. The other mineral form a calcium carbonate. Bellerophon is unusual for
Alright, so let's look up what this about. Alright, Omphalos is a genus of fossil marine gastropods known to have lived from Silurian and Middle Permian to the Middle Permian. Those are periods of the Carboniferous period. Carboniferous period is the period they call the age of the amphibians. I mean, like your giant like creatures and Godzillas and shit like that. Cyclops, Bigfoots. All I ain't gonna say the Bigfoots, but the Cyclops and stuff. Yeah. So boom. Alright, so alright. Excuse me if I'm everywhere with this, cause I'm just peeping this for real. And I didn't want to just hold in the info, cause I make shorter versions to make it make sense. Alright, so did I even spell that right?
A gastropod in that it had an outer layer of calcite. The other fossils are rare because the calcium carbonate shells of most are made of the mineral aragonite, which later dissolved. Straprolis.
I'm guessing the Permian.
Straprolis was a conical gastropod mollusk with whorls that are rounded in cross-section, but have a slight shoulder. The shell surface lacks ornamentation. Limestone mollusk fossils are rare because the calcium carbonate shells of most are made of the mineral aragonite, which later dissolved. Straprolis, however, had an outer layer of calcite. The other mineral form a calcium carbonate. Bellerophon is unusual for a gastropod in that its shell was coiled in a plain spot.
Look. I see. I had lost it because I heard him say calcium carbonate, and that's what I'm trying to find about it right now. This calcium carbonate is what they're using in the skies right now with graphene oxide, and also with your natural 5 or 6 non-metals, creating a chemical reaction, and it's helping with the clouds to even produce with the clouds is that, and the way they get it up there is water vapor, carbon monoxide, the five metals, I mean non-metals, mixed with that shit, jet fuel it. That's the only way you can even heat up that from a liquid form. It's the only way you can heat it up. It's through a plane, some big engine or something that let out energy like that. Kind of like how the planet releases plasma. That's why they're doing the opposite, the anti-version of that, so they can block it. Because it's a lot of things that connect to that energy, including you. But it's a lot of species and creatures that's here that could also connect to that energy. That's why I'm saying we're back in that period. at the age of the amphibians, the fifth and the sixth. Just like how they're saying we're moving into the 5D, we're moving into the fifth dimension, we're moving into that energy. And if you want to compare it to the period of time, time is just measurements to keeping track of these periods that happened before, to know when it's going to come back around. Because we're just in a cycle. Cycles come back around and around. It means there's no past, future, or present. It just is. So, I mean, like, shit gets crazy. But I really want to see what they're saying about this fossil and calcium carbonate. Alright, see what they got. Alright, so that was found in Ohio. Reason why it be cold as fuck during the strongest time of the energy cycles. Hmm. Y'all found that fossil in Ohio? When? 1918? Hmm. Black shell, gray non-fissile claystone with lumpy iron oxide concretions. Iron oxide. Hmm. Definitely something to do with this. Crazy thing about we're gonna come back to that. But tyrannase inhibitor. Hydroquinone aldous acid. And these inhibitors is destroying your melanocyte, which I believe is in your eye. Whoa. It's in your eye. Yeah, the melanocyte is in your eye. See? That's why they named it. Alright, so boom. See how little shit like that falls into each other. Hydroquinone. Let's just put this in. See what happens. The part ain't gonna say it. That's the shit